Hello, and welcome to the Big Bad Bike Show. This week saw history in the making. We had our first ever MotoGP sprint race, and boy did it live up to expectations. We wanted fireworks in Portimão, and it gave us a dazzling display. I'm your host, Sam McCauley, and I'm joined, as always, by the up north biker, Ash Hull.
Hey up.
And like a damp squid fizzling out with barely a pop, it's Chris Chippy Ballard.
Hello.
What? Do you know what a damp squid is? Squib?
No.
That's what my grandma, that's what she used to call fireworks. She'd be like, oh, them are squibs. Listen to them are squibs.
I've never heard that ever.
You've never heard of it being called a squib?
I had to mute my mic there because I was gone.
A damp squib. Well, anyway, if anybody is listening on YouTube, you can click the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll never miss an episode, and you'll get to find out fun facts like damp squibs and stuff like that. I hope everybody's recording, because we just said 3, 2, 1, go, and then didn't wait for a confirmation, just went straight in.
Yeah,
I'm recording.
This is an opportunity for somebody else to speak.
Well, yeah, I'm recording. I'm all good.
I'm recording.
Cool. Good.
I just can't be bothered with this because it's just going to be a massive argument the whole
It's
episode.
not, well, it's going to be an argument the whole episode. Yeah, fireworks. That's the kind of theme I was going for this time, because it's going to be fireworks. So if you're listening, you're going for a good show, hopefully. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. Back to last week's show. Big Daza, he's emailed in. He just mentioned with regards to last week's question as to who's the greatest rider not to win a championship, he said a few names came to mind. I'll be honest, some of the names he's put in there I need to look up. He said Tom Herron, Randy Mamola, I've heard of him, Kevin McGee, but they're all 500 era riders. And he said in the MotoGP era, it's Max Biaggi, Setai Giovinazzi. And he said if they had to pick one, he would go for Max Biaggi. That's kind of what I said last week as well. Of course, you said Danny Pedrosa because it's the only one you could think of. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Danny Pedrosa.
Yeah, Danny Pedrosa.
Oh, fucking hell. So what have you been up to this week then, Sam?
The highlight of my week was... How long I'll get you on camera, because I've got my Audacity up at the minute. The highlight of my week was driving down south. I was going to a family birthday. He's smiling, you know it's coming. I was going to a family birthday, and my daughter, who doesn't normally get travel sick, but we were stuck in M25 because it was a car park, and we were stopping and starting and stopping and starting. And, you know, just to keep them happy, we were just piling them full of treats in the back seat, like, watch the tablet, eat stuff, just shut up, be quiet. And then my daughter just, you know, projectile vomited it all over the back seat.
I never heard about this until now.
Oh, RTFC. That means read the fucking shot. No, so she just threw up all of... Luckily, it didn't go over many of the seats. It just went in the footwell, so it wasn't too hard to clean up. Loads of Febreze, loads of all that stuff. It's not too bad. But we were on the M25. It was a car park. I had to pull over into the side, get her out. Of course, by that time, she had finished being sick. And there was nothing else for it. I was like, darling, you just take it back in the car and sit in it until we get to where we're going. Oh, horrible. Windows down the whole way. Disgusting. That was the highlight of my week. Yay!
Bloody hell.
What about you?
I didn't do a lot really, just work. Went round to Chippy's yesterday to watch some of the qualifying, because I think he felt as though he had to, because he just, you know, as you know, he's an unsocial prick basically.
Yeah, I don't like anybody here while I'm watching the bikes because I like to concentrate on the bikes, but he insisted on coming round, so I was like, we'll come round for qualifying in the sprint race. That means today I can watch the races in peace.
What do you mean you don't like people around? You like to sit there by yourself?
Yeah, I like to just sit and watch it and take it all in myself, without distractions, without people talking to me. It's bad enough that my missus has been speaking to me today. As soon as the race started, she was like, oh, can you help me with this? It's like, no.
I know. I'll be honest, I'm pretty lucky. Like, my kids and stuff know when the bikes is on. Daddy's watching bikes. They still pester me, like, but
yeah,
they know as soon as they see bikes. It's like, oh, Daddy's watching bikes. It's like, I let you watch your bullshit cartoons. Let me watch bikes.
Yeah, that was
But-
pretty much my week. Nothing interesting. Chippy?
Yeah, we don't do anything interesting.
Well, I've been on holiday from work this week.
Oh, you have, haven't you? Yeah, I forgot you had.
Yeah, I'm back in on Wednesday though, and I really.
But you've done nothing. You just sat around the house. Maybe
Well, no,
go
I
to the
get-
gardens. Go to the garden centre.
I actually haven't been to the garden centre yet. I do need to go though because I need some pots. But anyway, I get up in the morning, have a shower, have breakfast, feed the birds, water the plants, and take the dog for a walk, and that is me for the day.
You're
And then I
such an
usually
old
spend
man.
the rest of the day watching bikes or reading because I've got James Whittam's book. It's quite old now. I think it's like 2008. It was printed, but it's very good.
Yeah.
2008. It's just a little bit out of date, isn't it?
Yeah, might even be before that. I can't remember.
Jesus, I got an old Car Fogarty book, but even that's from like around the same time. It's ancient old.
Yeah,
It's even before he went into the jungle and did the jungle stuff, and even that was years ago.
Yeah, it was.
But I think it's like 2000. Well, no, it's not 2001. It's older than that. But yeah, it's an old book. Yeah. So if anybody would like to contact us, you can get in touch at our email address, which is podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Leave your name. We can read it out in the show. If not, just keep anonymous. You can follow us on Twitter. It's Big Bad BS. It's all one word. And I'm pretty sure you can leave a comment on YouTube as well. Like I said, hit the like button, subscribe, get notification bells and all that jazz. We're being quite calm at the minute. I think we're all just... There's like... usually we
Calm
try and...
before the storm.
usually
No,
we
that was
try and
last
rattle
week's
through.
episode.
We usually try and rattle through a load of bullshit to try and, fill out time and bring ourselves to what we want to talk about. But we're all just kind of itching at the bit to get into it. So, but we're going to do the news first, aren't we, Chippy?
We're going to do the news.
So run through that for us.
Right, so...
Oh, by the way, last week you got the bongs and stuff in.
Yeah, I liked
I've
them.
got yeah,
You're
bongs
going-
are good. And I found a little jingle as well. It's like, that's really cringy, but I'm going to put it in.
Yeah, you'll have to send that to me because
I'll put it in the little Dropbox thingy, whatever we use. The little shared thing.
The thing I don't have a clue about.
Yeah, the thing that Ash can't work. But anyway, the news. So the first bong. There's not actually a great deal to say this week, and every bit of news I've found is all to do with British superbikes. Mainly Leon Haslam has confirmed he's riding in BSB with Rocket BMW. I mean, he was testing anyway on a BMW.
We mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. He was
Yeah.
testing, and they had to be doing
Yeah.
something. Like you're not
Yeah.
just going out and testing and potentially spitting a few £1,000 worth of bike up the road unless there's going to be something come from it.
Yeah, but I
So
think it was
that-
yesterday he announced he's racing with BMW, which
Yeah.
is good. I like to see him in the paddock.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see him in the paddock.
Yeah, that's all there is for that. So give me another bong. Testing has been happening this weekend at Donington Park, but the weather has been awful. So there hasn't been a lot of track action. And as it's only testing, there's no point in even looking at the times anyway. I don't even think everyone went out. PBM Ducati weren't even there. I think they had issues with some logistics or something, so they've been testing, but
Just nobody cares. It's like,
yeah,
why even
nobody
bother?
cares.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I put this one in the news, to be honest. It was just to fill it out. Anyway, final bit of news. Give me a bong. Sticking again with BSB, Richard Cooper is riding for FHO Racing in the new BMW F900R Cup, which is replacing the Ducati Tri-Options Cup that they've been having for the last few seasons. I don't know whether this is a good or bad thing, because, I mean, that class is, I think, designed for people with low budgets.
Yeah,
and
is this
people
the
just
one?
to get the foot in the door.
Is this the one you were telling us about in the group chat? It's like it's an
Yeah.
opportunity for, like you just said, people with lower budgets to get their foot in the door, start racing, and
And now a big team with a big budget has just brought in a class rider who's just going to wipe the floor.
Personally, I don't.
mean,
I don't like it because, like I said to you, it's like when you're in a game and you get to level 100 and you go back to the level 1 area and just start spanking everyone in one hit. That's basically what it's going to be like.
Well, it could be, but if somebody did beat him, that is going to make them proper stand out.
Oh
So
yeah,
it could
absolutely.
be good,
yeah,
but it's probably going to be bad.
I know it's not quite the same, but it's like if you've got a really low league team, and then somebody like Ryan Reynolds, for example, comes in and buys your football club, and then you've got millions of pounds to spend on it.
Yes.
And it brings in like financial fair play rules and stuff. But there you go. I don't know anything about football.
I think it should have been better for them to just let people that, like you say, people starting out fight out in that.
I mean, Richard Cooper, he's a 2-time Superstock 1000 champion. So I mean, even if he wins this, it's not going to be like a massive thing to boast about.
But then again, if he's a 2-time Superstock 1000 champion and he's not getting a ride anywhere, he's like, well, I need to ride somewhere.
I mean, he did. I think he replaced somebody last year for a couple of races, and he just blitzed them. He's still front of the pack. He's absolutely class. So he's going to win. He's going to win.
Or maybe the BMW organisers of the championship have said, look, we could do with somebody in, even though it's for people starting up, but we could do with somebody in there with a bit of credit, something behind their name, so that if somebody does beat you, for example, we can be like, well, look, this guy's he's beat a champion. But more realistically, he's probably just going to go on and steamroll it, isn't he?
But
and like you said, it just kind of highlights what's the point then? What's the point of bringing in a bunch of amateurs to give us a bit of low-level clubman racing just to bring in a champion that's going to like whip their asses, whip their candy ass?
It's like getting John McPhee and saying, right, jump onto the Rookie Cup, mate, and just go around with them.
I think he'd probably come off anyway. No, we like John McPhee.
We do.
Sorry, John.
Yeah.
We just having some fun.
At your expense. Right. Is that it for the news, or do you need another bong?
That is it for the news.
Oh.
Yeah, so, John, you read this next bit out, Chippy, or do you want me to read it out? We could get
You
Ash
can
to
read
read
it
it
out,
out, but then he doesn't have the Google Doc, does he? Let's
He
highlight
doesn't
that
have
in
the
the
Google
show.
Doc.
We're episode 6 in, and Ash still doesn't have the Google Doc. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, how he waited until 5 minutes before we started recording to say that he couldn't log in. Just before we started recording, he's just went and told us that he can't get into the Google Doc. And it's like, thanks for highlighting that just before we started recording. Anyway, I'll go through. Sorry, do you want to go through this bit or I go through this bit?
You can go through because you'll understand it better.
Alright, so Bishop's Court had round 1 of the Ulster Superbikes this weekend. It was the first race in Northern Ireland season since they got their insurance up and running and they can finally go out racing. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 races I think in total. So you had Superbike race 1 and 2, which was won by Jason Lynn in the Kawasaki. And you had, was it Corey McGreevy? Was that his name?
Corey McGreevy, yeah.
Corey McGreevy came second in race 2 and came third in race 1. And an M Brown, I don't know his name. On the BMW, he came second in race 1 and third in race 2. I'm not as good at this as you are, Chippy, at reading this stuff out. And then you had a Supersport race 1 and race 2, and you had Corey McGreevy who won both of them as well, and Jason Lynn came second. There's kind of a theme here. And then there was Super Twin race 1 and 2, which had Corey McGreevy and race 1 and 2 as well. There was a classic race which was won by Barry Davison, and as far as I know, there was a Moto3 race which was won by a young teenager. See if I can find his name. Jack Burrows did the double in the Moto3 races, and Burrows is on. Jack Burrows did the double in the Moto3 races at the Burrow Engineer RK Racing Honda. There you go. Brilliant.
Groovy.
I said that it's been years since I've been back over home watching motorbikes. It's been even longer since I've been to Bishop's Court, but it's kind of like the start of the season. Go around the short circuits, you do like Bishop's Court, Akadui, Nuts Corner, blah blah blah. That's obviously where the superbike season starts over there, and then I think it progresses onto the road races. Like I said, obviously they've got their funding now for their insurance, so most of that can happen. Happy days, but that gets it up and running. The superbike last year, I think Jason Lynn came second to Alistair Seeley, but Alistair Seeley's now in British Superbike, isn't he?
I I think maybe one of the support classes. I'm not sure. He
Yeah,
did
I think
Supersport a few years
I think
ago.
he's in that paddock though. I think he's went over there.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to somebody back home who told me that Corey McGreevy, even though he's winning races and he's doing quite well over there, there's talk that he might be going to British Superbikes as well.
He was in it. He won the Superstock 600 Championship in 2019, I think, which I think is now the Junior Superstock. But yeah, he's a class rider, and I think next year he went to British Supersport. He was a front runner. He was near the front anyway. I don't think he actually won a race, but yeah, he's a good rider. I really rate him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be good to see him back, whatever he does.
So we're just going to stop beating about the bush and get into the MotoGP.
Yeah, I think we need to.
Can we just have a disclaimer now? We're going to have to agree to disagree, because
yeah, of course.
we're not going to agree on this.
We are most likely going to have to agree to disagree on a lot of stuff. We'll start off with the MotoGP then, eh?
Oh, we're going that way, are we? We're going MotoGP.
Well, do you want to start off with Moto2 or Moto3 or straight into MotoGP?
Well, should we start with the sprint race first?
Yeah, that's a good
Well,
idea.
Because
How about we go back a little bit further and talk about the qualifying? What did you think of the
How about we go
qualifying?
back even further than that and talk about the practice with Paul Espargaro having his big crash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that put him out,
Should we
didn't
do
it?
that?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
he smashed into the barrier and then the bike hit him. It did not end well.
Well, there was complaints last year from the riders about the gravel and the barriers. Yeah, I mean, there's grass growing through the gravel. It doesn't get looked at, but the gravel's too big, so it doesn't slow the riders down. It just somersaults the bikes. And there's no air barrier there either. I think there's like 3 air barriers on the whole
There's an
track.
air barrier there now.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
put it in. Was it this morning they put it in?
It's like, oh shit, we better put an air barrier in there. Look.
Yeah. Too little.
Oh,
too
somebody's
late.
severed their spine and got bruised lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put an airbag there now.
Basically. So yeah, it's going to be a shame because I think he's going to be out for a while. Was it back and chest injuries?
Yeah. I mean, it's not
so
good.
yeah, he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, and then you were talking about it in the chat because I was missing a bit of it with work and stuff. But you were talking about it in the chat about the TV cameras and all showing the accident, and it still wasn't completely clear if he was like fully fit or if he was up and walking or what his condition was. And it's kind of like there's always that sort of unspoken rule that if the TV cameras show the crash, you're like, he must be all right. But there was still that sort of is he, isn't he? Because you heard there was like spinal damage and you don't really know.
Yeah.
Like you think the worst when you see a crash like that, and it just brings into question as to, well, possibly they already knew. Possibly that like the TV coverage already knew, but they just weren't giving the information to the public. But yeah.
I mean, they were filming him receiving treatment, and he had like an IV drip, or whatever it's called.
See, they shouldn't be filming all that, really. They
shouldn't be filming somebody getting treatment, because that is just bad.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you see riders crash and they go up and they're crawling away and you can tell it's like, oh, they're really winded or they've maybe broken something and cameras film it. But yeah, if somebody's lying down and getting actual treatment at that stage, the director, whoever there, should be like, turn the cameras off, remove the cameras away. Like you mentioned it, like whenever Christian Eriksen playing for Denmark, was it Denmark he plays for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my football knowledge here. Whenever he collapsed, there was like TV cameras were trying to take a picture of it or were trying to get in and
zooming in, getting CPR and that.
And his team had to go round him so they couldn't see. But you know that shit sells fucking news and papers and everybody wants that shot.
It's bad crack, isn't it?
It is bad, very bad crack. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so it's not nice to see. You don't want to see somebody getting treated,
especially if their families are having to watch it as well.
Yeah. But it's not only that.
Also,
but so go ahead.
I was going to say, showing the riders as well, like the other riders' reactions to what's happened. It's, just show some else.
I've seen, or not seen, but I know of in the past where other riders have crashed, horrible accident, and first off it's like, oh, they're going to be okay, they're conscious, and then like a week or two down the road, or maybe even a couple of days later, you find that they've relapsed and they've passed away. And it's like, until you know they're all right, don't show it on TV.
Yeah, I mean BSB did it well last year when Chrissy Rouse lost his life. They didn't. I've never seen a replay or anything of that.
And neither you should.
No, they did it well. They should take example from that.
Because I was going to say these lads, but obviously there are women out there as well. These riders, like for our entertainment, I know they get a thrill out of it. It's not like they're not doing it for other reasons, but they're putting their life in the line for our entertainment. And if the least we can do is respect them, if something happens to them, keep the cameras out of their faces.
Yeah. Anyway, should we move on to what was next? Qualifying?
Sprint?
Yeah, well, the whole qualifying, obviously, they brought new rules into qualifying this year, saying that if the rain comes down or if it's stopped, they're going to take the results from free practice 1 and free practice 2 to be your qualifying position. And then qualifying means a lot more this year because you're qualifying for the sprint race and the actual main race. And then I thought maybe there was a lot of tension. You could feel it. There was a lot of tension in free practice. There was a lot of tension in qualifying as well because they were all waiting for this sprint race. And I think they were all just a bit wound up.
Well, you could tell they were pushing harder in qualifying, especially this time.
Even in practice, because... Sorry.
No, sorry, it's because obviously they're wanting to... It's for the sprint race as well, so...
But in practice they were pushing because I think they all had it in the back of their head that if something happens and for some reason we can't qualify, or if it starts raining and we can't get a lap in, they're going to take our free practice 1 and 2, and so I better make sure and get a good time in now.
Yeah, and also that determines who goes through to Q2 anyway, so it was like a mini qualifying at the end of practice.
Yeah. But it was... I did not expect qualifying to see Marquez put in the lap that he put in.
No, I wasn't either.
It's brilliant, wasn't it?
I know he had to follow people, he had to follow people around to get that lap, but I wasn't expecting it. But like I said, like we say, like everybody says, you should never really rule out Marc Marquez. He is phenomenal in a motorbike.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't rule him out, definitely, but obviously we'll get on to Marc Marquez later.
No, it was incredible to see that lap. It was amazing. But even whenever he pulled out of the bag, like Chippy, you were well happy. You're a massive Marquez fan. And even then I was thinking it's fine, he can do it with 1 lap, but he can't sustain that for an entire race. No way. He can't do that for an entire race. But even to put a lap in like that, it builds a lot of confidence and, kind of puts your flag in the sand and be like, look at this, Billy Big Balls. Obviously, he's got a Spanish accent, not an American one, so I don't know how to say balls in Spanish or belly. Belly grande fucking testicales or something.
I've just noticed your T-shirt, Sam. It's so true. Property of Alcatraz Psycho Ward.
This is a Christmas present.
It was him, he escaped.
That's a Christmas present. My father-in-law got it to me. He said he took a second to think. He was like, I wonder if Sam will be offended by this T-shirt. And then he realised who he was buying it for. He was like, oh yeah, he won't. But I pretty much just wear it around the house. I'll keep it for whenever my daughters start bringing lads home. I'll just put
you won't need a T-shirt. You will not need a T-shirt when they start bringing
like
lads home.
Mustard stains or stuff on it.
They'll bring a lad home, and there'll be Sam balancing a Guinness on his head while doing a hopping across the room or something, playing his guitar. That's what you will not need that T-shirt.
Oh, whenever any of my lasses bring a lad home, I'm going to be right. First things first, you got to pass the whiskey test. So forget about taking my daughter to bed. You'll be sitting down there, me and you piling into a bottle of Lefroy. We'll go from there. No, the worst would be they'd bring somebody home. Obviously, this will be years in the future, but they'll bring somebody home. And I'll be sitting there and they'll be like, it'll probably be a wee English boy. Oh, hello, Mr. Macaulay. And I'll be like, you're out, mate. Do you want to watch some bikes? Oh, no, I don't really like motorbikes. And I'm like, oh, fuck. What the fuck are we going to talk about? Cricket or some bullshit like that? Fuck that.
Nobody likes cricket.
I do like cricket, I'll be honest. Cricket's alright. Once you understand the rules, cricket isn't too bad. I can't watch normal county cricket bullshit. It has to be international. It's like rugby. People that sit down and watch rugby, fair enough, that's fine. But unless it's international rugby, I can't be fucking arsed with it. I don't care about all that other shit. I just want to see international stuff. Complete opposite from football. You watch football international stuff, it's bollocks. It's like, the Nations Cup's on. Who gives a fuck? It's shite. Anyway.
Right. So,
Why is there no like World Cup motorbike race? There's like France against Spain and like a World Cup.
That would be
race.
good if each nation put their two best
because
riders forward.
Spain would win.
No, what you mean Spain wouldn't win? Not necessarily. Italy's got a lot of good riders. Yeah. France, like who? Like if there's a motorbike World Cup, who's your French riders? You've got Fabio Zarco, maybe Loris Baz.
Yeah, but then you're just describing the MotoGP, and we get that every weekend.
Well, if you had like a limit of two countries.
Well, let's say you've got two. Let's say your British riders. Who's your British riders then?
Jake Dixon.
God,
Why Jake Dixon? Why would it not be Johnny Ray?
Oh, I thought it was just. I was just thinking about.
No, I said a World Cup. No, I didn't say MotoGP. I said a World Cup with the best riders. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, but Johnny Ray.
Johnny Ray, definitely.
It probably would be Jake Dixon.
I'd have Jake Dixon in as well. I think he's class.
I'd know.
Or Brad Ray, British champion.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe one of the Lowe's brothers.
Yeah, but we want him to finish the race. Anyway. Are we going into sprint race?
Right, let's go out the sprint race. See if I've got some notes about this. Right, so it was the first sprint race ever. It was history making. It was fucking tense before they went into whenever they were on the grid. It was tense. Like you could cut the atmosphere, the tension with a knife. It was class. Really, really good. They wanted some excitement. They were expecting fireworks. What did you think of the sprint race? Did it live up to your expectations?
I thought I was worried about it, but to be honest, what it was going to be like, but I absolutely loved it. Especially.
What were you worried about it for?
I don't know.
What
I
were you
was
worried
just because, like I said before, and I know you're gonna argue the toss, but it's just like obviously if they screw it up massively, then they're pretty much out for the race. Which is, I know it's the same in World Supers, but I don't know. I was.
But that's the fun of it. That's what's good. It's like it adds an extra element of. It just adds another element to the whole weekend. It's something else you have to think about.
Well, it just means they're going to get more viewers now, doesn't it? Because people are going to want to watch a race in the sprint race on the Saturday. But I was well impressed with, and I'll take back everything I said about Jack Miller. Jack Miller, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I genuinely didn't think he'd do anything on that KTM. Jesus Christ, that was class.
It was good, actually. I really wanted him to win.
When he got into first place, I was sat there just like, oh my God.
But that's the whole point of the sprint race. It gives an opportunity for other riders on other bikes to get a chance to win. Ultimately, Bagnaia won it anyway in a Ducati. Still won. Yeah. Same result. Same thing happened. But I've got down a few notes with the sprint race. So first and foremost, I thought the Ducatis were just tripping over one another. There's too many Ducatis on the bloody grid, and they're all fast. And they're all just bumping into each other and tripping over each other. And you've got Joan Mir, who's getting in the way of Bezzecchi, and Bezzecchi's getting in the way of Bastianini, and Bastianini's trying to get in the way of Bagnaia, and they're all just tripping over each other. And I genuinely thought, I was thinking, what's going to happen here is there's going to be so many Ducatis here going to be banging and smashing in each other that Marquez or Jack Miller's just going to take off and get out of the way. And eventually, even though they're in different teams, the Ducatis are going to have to learn to work together. Ultimately, that didn't happen. They sorted themselves out a little bit. And like we said, Bagnaia went on and won it anyway.
Still good,
but
though.
Not before there was a few fucking little incidents.
Yeah, well, Quartararo had a bit of a knock, didn't he?
Yeah, Joan Mir was just tried to fit his bike where it just wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, what's Chippy's got a face on him? What's that for?
I'll get onto that later.
But this is. I thought this was a sprint race.
This is a sprint race. So basically, he's waiting for us to attack Marc Marquez.
That's not happening yet. No.
He's waiting for us to attack Marc Marquez, and he's going to bring it up. Well, why are you not attacking Mir? Because Joan Mir did what Marc Marquez did. And let's just address this right now. No, he fucking didn't do what Marc Marquez did. He genuinely tried to pass somebody. We'll get into that in a bit. Jesus.
But
So Joan Mir, I'll admit, like I said, there was a lot of tension at the start of the race, and it was the first race of the season, so I think there's already a lot of adrenaline built up. Adrenaline, aggression, tension. Joan Mir, yes, made a mistake. He was pumped up in adrenaline. He wanted to get to the front because suddenly everybody thought, oh, there's 12 laps to this race. I can win. And it's like, no, mate, you normally finish last. You're shite. You're going to finish last again. Well, obviously, that's not Joan Mir, but somebody finishes last, and it's usually the same people. And guess what? Whenever there's 12 laps, you're still going to fucking finish last. So stop thinking you're going to win the race. Everybody thought 12 laps, maybe I can win the race. No, you can't.
Alex Marquez came out and said that if they don't think they're in a chance of the top 9, they're just using it as like a sort of practice/test session for the main race.
Well, I was thinking today, I know we're kind of digressing a little bit, but I was thinking today that, let's say Quartararo, for example, Joan Mir bumps into him, shouldn't have happened. Ultimately, Joan Mir's the one that crashed. Yes, Quartararo was pulled away from it and it slowed him down and affected his race, but ultimately Joan Mir crashed, so he got his comeuppance in a way.
Got a fair penalty, didn't he? Fair penalty. Right through. Long lap.
But let's just say, for example, Quartararo got the bit between his teeth and thought, I still want to win this race, and then started riding dangerously and pushing people out of the way, Chippy. Let's say he just started doing that. I was thinking, what if they changed the sprint race slightly, whereas if you come 9th, the way they did it in Superbikes, if you come 9th in the sprint race, you start first in the main race. Then that way, if you're having a bad sprint race, that's a funny face. If you're having a bad sprint race, you're less likely to just try and push people out of the way to try and get to the front, because you can think, well, I might not get the points, but I'll get a good start for the race. I don't think they should do that. I'm just saying that's maybe an idea of because they were proper kicking the fuck out of each other in that sprint race.
They were. It was good though.
Yeah, you had the Joan Mir Quartararo crash, and then another contentious one that me and Chippy's been arguing about is Bastianini Marini crash.
Yes.
So the beast on Marini or Marini on the beast?
Well, the thing is, Marini, he did pretty much the same thing. He went for a gap that wasn't really there, took out Bastianini and broke his shoulder.
Right.
He's actually injured somebody.
No,
and he's not got a penalty at all.
No, neither he should. I've watched it 2 or 3 times. I've watched it over and over again. He went for the inside line and he lost the front. That happens week in, week out. That happens.
Yeah, racing incident.
Yeah, racing incident. Yeah, and again,
so
you're going to refer to the Marc Marquez who just steamrolled into fucking
into
what's his name?
If it didn't
Jorge Martin, and then smashed.
He just absolutely steamrolled into him. And I put it in the chat. Why? He did. He had no.
He clipped him and then he lost control.
Clipped him.
He had no intention of slowing down, none whatsoever. What I think he was trying to do was, I think he was trying to go in there fast, and I think he was going to bump into Mark. I think he was properly aiming for Martin to bump into him, use him as a way to slow himself down a bit, and then a block pass, and then keep going. The sort of thing he did in Gran Turismo years ago when you were a teenager. I'll just ride into these people, slow myself down, and then keep going.
And that's why he actually made a slight error in judgment. I think he was.
Yeah, you're right. He made a slight error in judgment.
No.
He fucked into the back of Martin. And
he went to the right hand. He went to the right hand side of him. If he'd have gone to the left, he'd have been able to run off wide. But I think that split second of him making that decision to go to the right side of him or on the inside of the corner, I think as soon as he did that, he realised he'd messed up. If he'd have gone to the left, he'd have just run wide and carried on.
I understand his Honda's not as fast as the other bikes, and he has to make up for that somehow.
Yeah,
but. You have to do it safely. You can't be riding around like that. And that's why I shared them videos with you from Argentina 2018, where he made a few mistakes. I know the guy's brilliant. He's an absolutely insanely fantastic rider. But Argentina 2018, he made a few mistakes. He made more than a few. He had a fucking nightmare. But anyway, his intention was just to ride through everybody. It's like I'm not going to overtake them. I might have to waste an extra couple of corners to overtake them. I'm literally just going to push them out of my way to get where I want to go. He's a fucking animal. I know it's exciting and all, but he is. When he gets the bit between his teeth, he's an animal. And he's, in my opinion, sometimes, not every time, but sometimes he can be quite unsafe. And he was unsafe today. It was a fucking joke.
I mean, like I was saying to you...
sprint race.
All right, carry on.
Anyway, we're still on the sprint race. We're not even at the race yet. We're at the sprint race. Jack Miller, we mentioned Jack Miller.
Class.
Absolutely insane. You said it, I'll say it as well. Not that Jack Miller listens to the Big Bad Bike Show, but if for some reason he ever does start listening to us and goes to our back catalogue, yes, apologies. Last week, I think I may have referred to him as a test rider. Which I still think it kind of is, because I don't think KTM's in a position to win the championship. They're not.
Yeah, but look at what Jack Miller did on it.
Yeah, why? Because he brought them information from Ducati about what they should fix with the bike. Who does that? Test riders.
Yeah, but I mean, if he'd had different tyres, I reckon if he'd gone for a different tyre choice on a sprint race, then he might have done better. He wore out of them soft tyres too quickly.
Yeah, but if he went for different tyres, they wouldn't have warmed up quick enough, so he couldn't have went as fast in the beginning. The whole point of going soft tyres is so they get warm quick, so you can hit the ground running.
Yeah, but obviously wore him out to the way he was riding, because he got into first position, then he just started dropping back. But
he was up against the Ducatis as well. I looked at the sprint race and I thought Maverick Vinales with the sprint race, even though he wasn't really in the mix with the sprint race, but I think he could do well in the actual race. I didn't think he would do as well as he ended up doing, but I just always had it. Like, I genuinely thought Vinales would suffer with the sprint race. I thought it was going to be his nightmare, because he's notorious for getting strong at the end of a race and getting beat up at the start. But even in the sprint race, by the time the 12 laps were up, you could see that by lap 9, 10, 11, Vinales was almost in the mix, and I just thought in another few laps he could have been in the podium. Another thing I noticed, I don't know if I'm just looking for controversy but I thought that Vinales and Espargaro didn't show any love for each other.
No, they really didn't. They just went for it.
I got the impression, I was like, there's a bit of needle between them two, even though they're in the same team. I just brought it down. I said, Factor Aprilia, no holes barred. These two look like they're ready to kick the shit at each other, which is good because they're on similar bikes.
Well, I was sat watching it with Chippy, and Chippy turned around and was like, when they get back, their pit boss is going to go fucking mental at them two. Imagine if they wiped each other out.
Because that's what they were saying on. I can't remember if I watched it on the app or on BT, but they're saying that Vinales was coming through with pace, and they're like, he could win this race. He's got pace. And then he come up to Espargaro, and they started racing with each other, and it was like, I even put in the chat, I said, I was like, Alex Espargaro needs to fuck off right now, just let Vinales through.
I think they both want to be the big dog in that team, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They're both quite even at the minute. I mean, Espargaro's been there a few years, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. He's sort of developed the bike, but now Vinales is.
But Vinales, he was like, at one stage he was like tipped to be the next, big thing. He was going to be. He's going to be the next Rossi, the next Lorenzo, the next Marquez. He was tipped to be that, and then he came into MotoGP and just kind of had a nightmare. But
I think there's going to be a good rivalry there this year.
Yeah. I noticed that in the sprint race. It was just that these two are. I think it might be the same with Honda as well. If Joan Mir can. It's
only good for the team, though. It's only going to. You want riders like that.
Yeah, until they start knocking each other off and sending each other flying.
Until that happens.
Yeah. Another thing, I mentioned it before, the sprint race, having the sprint race in there. Like, I usually watch the qualifying anyway, but, I was glued to the qualifying this time because I knew this is, it means more now. Plus, the sprint race is coming on later on. I watched the qualifying, I watched the Moto2 and Moto3, practice, and then I watched the race, and then as soon as the race finished, I knew that the Red Bull Rookies was coming on after it. And usually I'd never watch the Red Bull Rookies.
We watched it, didn't we?
Yeah, I watched it as well. Usually I'd never watch it. Like, don't get me wrong, if I was flicking and it was on, usually, but, there's...
You'll make a point of watching it.
Yeah, now I'll make a point of watching it because it's on just after the sprint race. I'll be like, I'll sit down and watch this.
And there's an up-and-coming lad that was quite good there that might maybe title on to Moto3 in a bit.
Well, but do. Casey O'Gorman.
Yeah.
They were saying they changed the rules, so...
Yeah. Got to be 18 now. But, I remember watching him a couple of years ago because he was in the British Talent Cup. He won the British Talent Cup. And I was at Knockhill on the first corner, and I watched him have the biggest crash ever, and I'm genuinely worried about him. He was down for ages, but he's...
What age was he then? Like 12, 13?
Oh, he wasn't much older than that.
Did you go and give him assistance, Chippy?
No.
Were you marshalling,
I didn't.
Chippy? Did you have a little piece of paper around your waist telling you were a marshal?
Did you have some Werther's originals in your pocket?
We can have to edit that out. But yeah, no, I think he's a really good rider. But I think the current British Talent Cup champion, Johnny Garness, I think he's even better. I think he's younger as well, but I think he's going to be Britain's next Pedro Acosta, or as close as we can get to him.
Do you think in the next, I don't know how long, let's say 5 to 10 years, we might have a British contender who might actually challenge for a MotoGP championship?
Yeah, I think one of them two, honestly, Casey O'Gorman or Johnny Garness. I mean, Casey O'Gorman, he's Irish, so I don't know if he counts as...
Well, he rides under the...
I'm still counting him as British.
Well, yeah, he's British, isn't he?
Well, he has the Irish flag on his...
yeah, he does. He rides under an Irish flag.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I'm still counting him as one of our own.
Wait,
He won the British Talent Cup.
You don't go to the Olympics and somebody that runs under Ireland be like, oh yeah, Britain's just won a gold medal. Fucking Ireland won the gold medal.
No, we're
Britain.
claiming him.
We're claiming him.
That's why there's problems in Ireland in the first place, because you just went and fucking claimed it. Motorbikes is popular over there as well, so there'll be people from Ireland, Northern Ireland listening to it, seething.
I'd say it would be like Andy Murray. Whenever he does well, he's British, but as soon as he's crap, he's Scottish.
He's Irish again. There's another rider, anyway. He was 13th position in the first Red Bull Rookies race, and I just thought I'd mention it. His name was Pini. I don't know how you spell it. I spelt it Pini, but they called him Pini. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because he got 3 long lap penalties, and I thought, what the fuck is this kid doing? He's got 3 long lap penalties. What's he been up to?
Just pushing too hard, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jesus. Pushing people out.
Sounds like me on the MotoGP game. Just constantly long lap penalties.
Just crashing into people. I am terrible at that game.
I'm so bad.
I just crash all the time. Every corner I come on a crash. That's it. I just go up and crash.
I can't play it.
You know, the only time I'm any good at it is if I'm not thinking about, if I'm daydreaming and thinking about something else, and then I sort of come back in and realise I've done like half a lap and absolutely nailed it. And then as soon as I start concentrating, that's when I mess up again.
You mess up again. Right, so, do you want to talk about Moto2, Moto3 before we go into the big race?
Let's go for Moto3 first, because that was on first.
Yep. Scott Ogden, like straight away, bang, turn 4, he was out.
Well, he didn't qualify well, did he? And I think he was told he needs to be aggressive from the start
I know,
to make
but
up places.
was it the first lap?
First lap?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen a replay. I don't know what happened, but...
Yeah, first lap,
Yeah,
bang,
not a
straight
good-
out. And I was
start to his season.
It only just started. It was like, oh, Scott Ogden's just binned it. It's like, what? Great. So that's a shame for him, though. Obviously, I know he didn't qualify well, but yeah, hopefully next weekend he can pull some out of the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully Argentina. He's not injured, is he? He didn't get an injury.
No.
Injury.
Well, not that I know of.
It was a good race. What happened to Onchu at the start? Because he was way down the order.
Yeah, he was quite
and
far
I,
back.
I had Onchu. He was my tip to win it this year. That's who I went for.
Oh, he stalled at the start of the warm-up.
that was it. Yeah, he stalled.
And he had to start from pit lane.
Because he started smashing through
yes,
towards
he
the
did.
end.
And
Towards the end, he started
again,
smashing through.
he had to go to pit lane. Marquez didn't. Anyway, yes, he had to go into pits.
That's reference in Argentina 2018 whenever Marquez stalled the bike, started it on the pit grid or on the grid, done a big UE, went back into position, completely disregard for the rules, and then proceeded to ride through everybody and just knock people off and just generally be a little. I was very close to dropping my first C-bomb there. I was very close.
No, we're not allowed C-bombs on here.
Oh, you are. You can put that on there.
No.
What do you mean?
No C-bombs.
Can I not say it?
No.
Can I just quickly say, apparently Marquez has come out and apologised to Miguel Oliveira and the Portuguese fans. He said he wasn't trying to overtake at that point. He locked his front.
What a load of shite.
That's what he said.
I don't know if he was trying to overtake. I don't know what he was doing. That genuinely looked like he forgot where his brakes were.
I mean, that would make sense if he locked the front and just lost control.
Yeah, because he was trying too hard.
Sounds like an
Pushing too
excuse
hard.
to me.
Riding out of his limits because he's an old man that needs to retire.
We'll get onto that. In a bit.
I love how we're talking about it in stages, and it just keeps
We're
coming
doing
back
Moto3
into
first.
Marquez.
Right, we're on Moto3. Right, Chan on Chu can through the pack after stalling in the grid and doing what he should do and going to the pit lane. And if that hadn't happened, chances are he was going to win it. But then who did win it? It was Holgado.
Yeah, Danny
Holgado.
Holgado, yeah.
Holgado won the race and then crossed the line and decided just to stop.
Well, no,
He went across
he slowed
He
down. He
didn't.
slowed down for his victory. Celebrating.
Right, he slowed down. He slowed down quite drastically. I took a picture of it. I took a picture of it. I'm going to put it on our Facebook page. I'm going to put it on Twitter later on, so people can make up their own mind. He slowed down.
Put a poll on it if you can.
He won that race, okay?
Yeah.
He won that race. Now, the picture, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders all in front of him. He's barely across the finish line. He slowed down dramatically. And then Kelso, who finished...
Wasn't paying attention.
No, let's be honest. Kelso went over the finish line. He also slowed down because he had that sort of poise where he took his foot off the gas. I know it's not a foot on your gas, but you know what I mean. He took his foot off the gas. He was taking off the tear strip off his, and then he ran into the back of Holgado because Holgado had no reason to be in there. What was he doing?
Wasn't looking where he was going.
Yeah.
He practically
He wasn't
stopped.
looking where he was going. He was lucky he didn't injure the race winner.
Yeah.
It was his own fault. 100% his own fault. It should have been.
I'm not saying Kelso is completely blameless. Like, obviously he needs to be paying more attention, but
it's 100% his fault.
It's not 100% his fault. Whenever he comes over the line like that,
he was going.
No, but even if he was looking where he was going, with Holgado like that, the chances are Kelso would have had to have swerved to miss him, and then he might have crashed into somebody else, or he might have lost.
I don't usually agree with Chippy, but I have to agree with him on this one.
Yeah, I know he's struggling to get his tear off.
I completely disagree in this one. I'm saying, Kelso's not blameless, don't get me wrong. He should have been paying more attention, but he was not expecting Holgado to just stop. And that's pretty much what he did. He was going slow. He was going slow.
And do you know what? Kelso actually had a really, really good race as well.
Yeah,
to end
him,
it like that was fucking ridiculous. In future, he should look where he's going, and then that won't happen.
Whenever you go across the finish line, the last thing you're expecting is a movable roadblock to be there.
Yeah, but anything can happen. You should look where you're going.
Why was he tearing off his visor at the end of the race anyway?
Who knows? It's maybe just a habit. It's maybe just like a little thing he does to finish the race and go to take this visor off. See
Or
where
maybe
I'm
he does it
going.
every time he goes past the line. Takes a.
Well,
He's not got
if
26
he hadn't
That's true, actually.
if he hadn't bloody done it, he'd be weighing him down at the front. Like.
In my opinion, like I say, yes, Kelso's not blameless, but I definitely, if I was like race direction, no, I wouldn't give Holgado a penalty, but if I was race direction, I'd have all them riders in, and I'd be saying, from now on, you cross the fucking line, you keep going. Do not slow down. Obviously, slow down a bit, but don't slow down that much, because there could have been a gaggle of 4 or 5 riders come in behind him, and they can't all just move out of the way. They had to go somewhere.
Yeah, but if I guarantee them other 5 riders would have seen him slow down and go, I'll move over there.
No, they wouldn't see him slow down because they would have been racing to get over the line first before the other.
Where they were going. Anyway, Joel Kelso, he's broke his ankle, so
because Holgado's a fucking dumbass.
He's learned his lesson and kept his eyes open. He's broke his ankle, so he's probably going to be out for a while.
But Holgado, well deserved. He was brilliant.
I like David Munoz. I thought he had a really good race.
He did,
I said that when we did our first episode and we did our predictions, I said David Munoz will be one to watch. I don't think he's going to win it this year. That's why I didn't pick him, because it is his first full year. He's kind of like a rookie. I don't think he's going to win it. I think he'll win it next year for definite, unless he gets moved up, because he might get moved up. Now, another thing, I'm going to go back to it. Holgado, if I was his team principal, I'd be saying, mate, you cross that line, you keep fucking going, because look what Espargaro did last year. He crossed the line. He slowed down. He was like, "Oh, Billy Big Bollocks, I won the race." And it's like, "Hello, mate. There's still another lap."
Yeah, that's
Keep
true.
going.
That's true. That was hilarious.
So Holgado's team, like his team, should be saying, "Keep going." You know, just to make sure, just keep going.
Yeah.
I still think a bit of the blame has to go to him. Kelso's now broke his leg. He said he broke his leg. He is. Definitely is.
We're going to have to agree to disagree.
Right, anyway, if anybody, whether you side with Ash and Chippy or you side with me, send us an email and let us know.
On the group that we've got, we'll put a poll on there and people can vote for about Marc Marquez, about what happened with Joel Kelso. You can vote about everything that happened this weekend.
Everybody will vote. Everybody's like, "Oh, Marquez, you're so amazing." Oh,
not in our group.
No, probably not. I've seen a few groups in social media that they're asking for quite harsh penalties. To be honest, people are like, "Oh, I should have a 3-race ban," and I'm like, "Oof."
That's too harsh.
I do agree he was at fault, but I think a 3-race ban's maybe. But
double
anyway,
on lap penalties.
we're still in Moto3.
Still in Moto3. So
still in Moto3, talking about how bad Holgado was for stopping.
I'll tell you what, not as bad as Anna Carrasco though. She finished last, so my bet is well and truly safe.
She didn't finish last. It said 23rd on there.
Yeah, 23rd out of 23 finishers.
Yes, okay. Yeah, she was 30 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah. I had a look at one point and she was like 15 seconds off 15th place.
But I'm holding out. She's going to get a point at some point or other.
The only way she's going to get a point is if loads of people get taken out.
Yeah, but there's 21 rounds, 21 races. One of them will rain. There's going to be rain eventually. That's her chance to get a point.
Well, hopefully, Anna Carrasco, if you're listening, keep going, lass. Crack on. I need to win a bet, so...
Right, before we move on, I just need to have a look at something because I saw something earlier on Wikipedia.
While you're looking at that, I'm going to ask a question.
Go.
You go to other sports, they have men's sports and women's sports. Now, I do like the fact that motorbikes throws the women in with the men. That's good because it's impartial. It's just everybody's the same. Go race.
Yeah.
But I was trying to keep my eye on the motocross championship because that was also this weekend. I was trying to keep my eye on it. And I noticed that they've got their main race, they've got their sub race, small bikes are out racing, youngsters are out racing, but they've also got a women's race, so they've got motocross women. They call it the WMXGP. So should MotoGP have maybe you have the MotoGP, you have the Moto E, you have the Moto2, Moto3, you have the Red Bull rookies. Should there be maybe not 21 season, or maybe not 21 individual rounds? Maybe at the beginning there should only be like 10, 12 rounds, but should there be a women's class in there for women?
I think so.
I think so.
I think it'd be good.
She might win that.
But then if you're good enough in the women's class, should you then be allowed to move into the main MotoGP?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Hang on, the main MotoGP?
Yeah, if you're fast enough.
Not in MotoGP.
But why not? It's all about being fast enough. Right.
No, maybe like
I'm under the impression that your problem with Anna Carrasco is you think she's in there just because she's a woman.
No, I don't at all. Right, I've got a thing here.
But you don't think she's fast enough. And she's Spanish as well.
Listen to me. She's done 53 Moto3 races in her career. How many times do you think she scored points? How many races has she scored points?
I would say she's never scored a point.
She scored points in 2 races, and that was in her first season.
And how many points has she scored in total?
9.
Well,
this is her 5th season of Moto3.
But then she left. The problem is she left Moto3 and went into like Superstock 300 or something.
Yeah, in World Superbike, following the World Superbike.
And she won that.
She won the championships.
But in Moto3, she's only ever scored in 2 races.
But the thing is, Chippy, somebody has to be last.
Yeah, but it's always her. I'm quite happy because it means I'm going to win my bet. And I'm going to have to give blood.
It's the first race of the season. No.
Well, she hasn't scored in the last 4 Moto3 seasons. She hasn't scored a single point.
Well, this could be her season, and that's why I went with a
bet.
bet.
At the end of the day,
it's not. No, it's
whoever the team. Yeah, she's obviously very talented. Like we mentioned a few weeks ago, if you sat in the back of a bike with her, she'd probably scare the shit out of you. But
yeah,
if you got a woman, you got a girl, a female, a lady, she's a lady, or you get a young lass on the bike, especially if she's Spanish. You get young Spanish girls that are going to go out because they love bikes in Spain. They're going to go out and buy her merchandise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all for having Anna Carrasco in Moto3. The only thing is, I'd take the gender out of it. As a rider, she is crap. She cannot. She never scores a point.
Yeah, but there's a lot of riders in MotoGP who never score a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Lorenzo fell on this weekend. I don't think Josh Watley for Britain. You know, I obviously back him because he's British, but I don't think he's ever going to score a point. I think he's crap. He won't.
So you think
it.
they shouldn't be there either?
Yeah, I think there's better riders. It's not just because she's a girl. But it's,
Yeah,
girl,
but there might be better riders,
now,
but then better riders, it's all about timing. It's where they're at in their career, what they're doing, what they can be held down to, what they're already holding themselves down to. I know it's complicated, there's contracts and stuff, but...
Yes. But the reason I don't like Anna Carrasco isn't because she's a girl. It's because she's got no
I
talent.
really want Anna Carrasco to get, or I was going to say to give blood. I really want Anna Carrasco. I really want Anna Carrasco to get a point, because the bet is if Anna Carrasco can get at least 1 point, Chippy has to do a CBT and buy a motorbike and explain to his wife why he's doing a CBT and buying a motorbike. And if she doesn't score a point, Ash has to give blood. Now, I honestly couldn't give a fuck if Ash gives blood or not, to be honest. But it's
Because
just
he's scared.
he's argued about this, and it just bored me to tears. I was like, who the fuck cares? But I do want to see you do your CBT and get a motorbike. That'd be class. I'd love to see you in a motorbike for the first time. Oh no!
Straight into a tree.
And you still pass your CBT.
In Moto3, going back to that, Ortoga came off, crashed, and is it? How am I pronouncing it? Filippo?
Yeah, it's one of the new ones.
Yeah, crashed.
I can't
Went into the
remember
pits, but I think came back out.
I can't remember.
Was that you taking notes, Ash?
Yes.
You're like, oh, I'm taking
Yes.
notes.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Well, it makes a change for him stating the obvious, which is all he was doing yesterday. I think Pedro Acosta would be really good in MotoGP. Cheers, Ash. Yes. Good
No,
insight.
what I said was, I think Pedro Acosta is the future of MotoGP.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've been saying that for about 3 years on TV.
I know, but it's so good, isn't he? It's brilliant.
That does lead on nicely to the Moto2.
It does actually, yeah.
It wasn't a great race, let's be honest.
It was
quite
it kind of just went the way we expected it to.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, a couple of weeks ago when we were doing our predictions and my name pulled out first, I said Pedro Acosta. You were like, oh fuck, I was going to say that. And then you went, well, I'll pick Arancana. Because
90% of bike riders would have picked Pedro Acosta. Sorry, bike fans. Racing fans. But yeah, Aaron Cannett's probably going to be second.
And he might win a few
Dennis
races.
Fodge is definitely not going to be last.
Well, let's get on to the subject that we were talking about earlier, where you two obviously have your opinion and I have mine. Even though Jake Dixon and Sam Lowes obviously had a bad start, I think they did really well to get to where they were. They didn't.
They did.
Well, ultimately, I would rather. I'm not as hot on Jake Dixon. It's not that I don't like him as much. It's nothing to do with that. I just genuinely have a lot of time for the Lowes brothers. I think they're class. I want to see them do really well. Jake Dixon just doesn't really fill me full of any sort of emotion whatsoever. He's British. Yay!
Nah,
But anyway.
I mean, he was in 14th at one point, was Jake, and to claw it back to 6th, I think is really good, especially for his first race.
Yeah, really good. And I'm just happy that both of them managed to keep it upright and got finished, because I know you laugh, but I know sometimes they can try too hard or get inside their own head. And like he said last year, Sam Lowes DNF'd 4 races and then couldn't start 10 because of injury. But it's like if you're going to have problems, because sometimes the bike can have problems, or sometimes you can get an injury, and
Other riders take him out.
Or other riders take you out, so you do have to finish the races that you can, and you need to be more consistent. So I was really glad they finished. However, me personally, whenever I see Sam Lowes going around Portimão, in my head I'm thinking, he's got pace, he's fast. He was just as fast as the leaders towards the end of the race. He had the pace. So, and in my opinion, Sam Lowe should be fighting for the win in that race. I don't know as much about Jack Dixon. It's not that I'm not saying he couldn't be. My knowledge on him isn't as good. But Sam Lowe's should be challenging for the race win in that. Now, I know he done well. He finished 7th. Happy days. He brought it home. He got some points. Let's, start off, get some consistency, and then build up to maybe race wins. But Sam Lowe's has the talent and the bike, and he's good enough to win that race today.
Yeah, but he had a shite start.
At least, yes, which he's notorious for. He gets shite starts. But that's something he's going to address. So whenever you were all like, oh, they're doing so well, they finished the race, my opinion was, no, they're not doing well enough. They should be challenging for the win. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
but do you think we should be happy that they got a 6th and a 7th? Would you have taken that before the weekend?
Well, yeah,
it's probably about where they'd have finished.
If you said to me, Jack Dixon and Sam Lowe will finish 6th and 7th respectively, will you take that? Well, the question is, well, what else is on it? What else is on offer? Well, just let
better than the DNF.
Well, let the dice fall as they do and see what happens. But yeah, you'd have took first race of the season. You'd have took a 6th and 7th. But
yeah. Well, the way I'm seeing it as well is these two British riders are going to be our best shot at the MotoGP, British rider in the MotoGP as well. So
you think Sam Lowe's is going to go back up to
maybe
MotoGP?
Not Sam Lowe's, but Jake Dixon definitely.
Sam Lowe needs to outright win the Moto2 championship to even be considered, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not writing the contracts. I don't know. But I would imagine he needs to, dominate it and show that he's, killing Moto2 before he's going to get a shot at MotoGP. He went to MotoGP, wrongly in my opinion. I think he should have stayed in Moto2 when he was there and won a Moto2 championship, then moved up. But everybody wants to race in MotoGP, so... But I don't see him going to MotoGP.
I don't see him going either.
And we said this last week. If Jack Dixon gets offered, if Jack Dixon's finishing 6th in Moto2 and he gets offered a ride in MotoGP simply because he's a British rider, so they can sell shirts or merchandise to British fans or whatever, just to have a British person in the paddock, it's not the right move for him, I don't think. Because if he went into MotoGP, he got absolutely minced.
I personally, in my opinion, I think if he went to MotoGP, I think he'd do really well.
Thing is, there's so many good riders ahead of him. I mean, there's Pedro Costa, there's Aaron Canet, there's Arbolete. There's so many good riders, and there's not that many rides.
And they're all going to go to MotoGP. And then once you get him MotoGP, you've got Bagnaia, Bastianini, Marquez is still there. You've got Vinales, who's got a bit of a resurgence. You'll have Pedro Costa going up.
I know what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You're a lot of good riders there, and then you've got Jack Dixon, who's struggling to finish top 5.
Yeah, but it's first race of the season. I reckon next race we'll see him go up even higher.
I reckon next race we'll see a similar result to this one.
Well, let's see.
Pedro Costa.
Let's see.
Aaron Canet.
Well, let's see.
But apart from that, there wasn't really much controversy in that race, was there? Or am I missing something? There wasn't Holgado stopped just as he went across the line and knocking people off, or Kelso doing the weirdest celebration we've ever seen, is riding into the back of someone. Yeah.
Ben Snyder crashed at turn 1. Pretty sharp.
He wasn't very happy, was he?
No.
He gave someone the bird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there was much drama in that race. It was very...
But how did our OnlyFans representative get on?
He finished 22nd.
Yeah, 22nd, but by the sound of the commentators, because we didn't see much footage of him, but by the sound of the commentators, they were trying to big him up a bit, saying, "Oh, he's doing really well at the back."
I mean, it is his first ever race.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So.
But
well, it's his first ever
Moto2 race.
Yeah, proper in-season race, not just wildcarding.
Yeah.
And that was Moto2.
Yeah, pretty much. There was obviously quite a few penalties in there as well. There was the clash between Vietti, though.
Explain.
Well, it was just into a corner, crashed in, and got long lap penalty. Just basically the same as, obviously not as bad as fucking Joan Mir and Marquez, but.
Who did you crash into?
I honestly can't remember who he crashed into.
Them's
good notes.
Them's good notes.
Yeah. But he got a penalty anyway.
That's just such a professional.
I know. Barry Bottas as well. He got fastest lap at one point.
Bottas, not Bottas.
All right, sorry. You know what I'm like with my reading? I'm fucking a dunce.
Especially when you try to read all these foreign names as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, fucking being up here in the Highlands trying to pronounce fucking name places is ridiculous. There you go.
Well, actually, down in England, it's no much better.
Well, it is.
I was speaking to somebody from Hertfordshire. Now, they said they were from Hertfordshire. Hert, as in H-E-R-T. And for some reason, it came up that they had to spell the county. I think I was working in a call centre at the time. And I was like, oh, can you spell that? And they proceeded to say H-E-R-T. And I was like, hold on a minute. Fucking stop a minute. You're not from Hertfordshire at all then. You're from Hertfordshire. Because it's a hurt. She's like, oh no, darling, it's Hertfordshire. And I was like, no, you're fucking posh twat. You're from Hertfordshire, right? That's it. Take your little fucking posh names, shove them up your arse.
And that's when Sam lost his job.
I was going to say, if you run in a call centre, Sam would be the last person you'd employ.
Oh, God.
I would say the name of the insurance company I was working for, but it would just plug them, and I don't really want to do that. But anyway, you see them quite a lot in the British Superbike paddock. That's all I'm saying.
Darren Binder crashed out as well, but he rejoined. Yeah. Managed to jump back on and crack on.
Yeah, Binder.
Right, so MotoGP then.
Ash, were you taking notes in the MotoGP as well?
I was, but these notes aren't very long, as you well know. Let's get on to the subject of again. I think we cover most of it, but Marquez.
Well, let's go. Let's start from the start. MotoGP. They're starting at the start of the grid. I thought Marquez at the very beginning was going to ride into fucking. If you go back and watch it, whenever they started off, I thought the two of them were going to collide. What's the Banyai? I thought the two of them were going to ride into each other.
He did that at the start of the sprint race as well. If you watch, he cut right across everybody's nose. So it's quite aggressive, but it's good tactic to stay in the lead.
Yeah, or get the lead. Well, stay in the lead, yeah. He was number one, wasn't he? He started in pole position.
Yeah. Good riding, I thought.
Oh, yeah, great riding. Great riding, Chippy.
I just can't be arsed with this argument.
But why? Because you know you're wrong.
I want to go to bed, but I don't want to be like another hour arguing about this.
He was far too aggressive. Far too aggressive. I mean, I know racing's racing, but that was just absolutely ridiculous. If he
to be honest, I don't even take that many notes.
If he hadn't hit Jorge Martin, he would have really hurt Oliveira. Like, really hurt him.
Because your argument to me was he wanted to go the other way or something, or he didn't mean to hit. He wasn't trying to run into Martin. He probably didn't want to run into him. But like I said, if he hadn't hit Martin, he was straight. He was doing a Joe Kelso. He was doing a Joe Kelso. He was straight into the back of Oliveira whenever Oliveira's trying to take a right-hand corner.
I mean, he's come out and said, this is his words, I got a massive front lock, so I had to release the brake.
That's because he went in too fast.
Wait. That's why he hit Martin, which then had him T-bone Oliveira. And also, he's not got away with this. He's broken his, or suspected to have broken his index finger. And he's got a penalty, which I think's a fair penalty. A double on that penalty. There's no point ruining his whole season.
I think
that'll be his next race ruined.
Started at the back of the grid for the next race.
Well, he pretty much is. A double on that penalty. That's a lot of time it's going to be.
That's only one race, though. There's two races next week. There's the sprint race and there's the race.
That's true, actually. I was only the race that'll apply to.
That's why I think he should have been given a qualification ban. He should have been told you're starting at the back of the grid, both races.
I agree with that.
But the thing is, in the sprint race, if you put Marquez to the back of the grid, he's just going to be an aggressive twat and do the same again. Start steamrolling people out of the way.
Yeah.
He needs to just realise, dare I say it, he's just over the hill a little bit, Chippy. He can't do it anymore. It used to be
he can't do it anymore, but he put it on pole by a country mile.
Yeah, he did.
But he's got no talent left anymore.
He did one lap.
He needs to retire.
He did one lap.
I don't think he needs to retire.
He doesn't need to retire. He's still got bags of talent. He's the best Honda rider.
He just needs to chill out a little bit.
does need to calm it down.
He does need to calm. Thank you. Just agree to that. He needs to calm it down.
Yeah, I agree.
He needs to realise that he's not on a championship winning bike. And yes, maybe years ago, Marc Marquez could have won the championship on that bike. But years ago, he was racing against Valentino Rossi, who was arguably towards the end of his career whenever Marquez turned up. And he was racing against Jorge Lorenzo, who, was still a fantastic rider. He beat Marquez to a championship. Was it 2015, I think, or something around that? But now he's up against riders who were watching him race. He's up against young, hungry riders who are not just going to move out of the way for him. And yeah, he needs to calm it down. Exactly.
Massively, and he just needs to wait for Honda to catch up.
I think that's the problem, because that bike is so underperforming at the minute. He's having to ride past its limit to get it competitive.
Like I was saying to Sam earlier, obviously, my dad, when he used to race, he said himself, when he used to race, people that had tuned bikes, which are a little bit quicker than his, he's done it himself. He's dove into corners to try and get the speed into the corner to try and keep up with them, and then he's ended up he's just come off his bike, front end's gone. And I think that's what Marquez was trying to do, but he just completely overcooked it.
Yeah, but if you try and do a block pass,
he locked the front.
Because he just went in too fast.
If you're trying to do a block pass, or if you're trying to get in front of somebody and cut them up a little bit, if it's just you and them, you see that all the time. It's like you get in beside them, you get where you just basically take their racing line, you hit the brakes, you slow down, they can't go anywhere, and then you get the inside lane and then they go wide. Block pass, that's fine. But whenever you're in a gaggle of 4 or 5 riders, you have to show some respect to the people you're racing against. Come on,
I get that.
You can't just be throwing yourself into corners with complete disregard for what's going to happen.
But then I also want to bring this back to not Joan Mir. Who was the other one that had the crash? Marini. He went into a corner, lost it, and took out Bastianini and injured him. I mean, Marquez didn't actually injure Oliveira. He's injured Bastianini, so now he's going to miss the next race. And he didn't even get a penalty.
Yeah, but Marini could do that same overtake 10 times and maybe only crash the once. He just lost the front.
Yeah, but Marquez only just lost it.
Marquez did not just lost the front.
He locked the front. And then
I'm sorry, but if either of them bikes weren't in there, he would have gone straight into the gravel.
Yeah, he would have done, and that's probably why he should have gone over to the left of Martin.
What we're saying is,
I tell you,
to the inside.
Honestly, what it reminds me of, and I said it previously, it reminds me when I used to play Gran Turismo and I couldn't be bothered doing the track right. So I would just go in a straight line and I'd just go to crash into the cars in front of me, turn the damage down so you don't wreck your car, and just crash into people and then turn round and they would go flying across. Then you'd win the race by crashing into people. That's what he was doing. He was like, I'll just crash into these people.
He was not doing that.
He was, no, maybe not. Maybe I'm yes, I'm using a little bit of hyperbole to over-exaggerate what I'm talking about, but he was complete disregard. It was dangerous. And I know Marini
the front.
And I know Marini crashed and took out Bastianini, who broke his leg, but them sort of crashes happen week in, week out. Somebody tries to take the inside, their front goes, and they crash, and you crash into somebody else, and a lot of times they don't get hurt. And you've already said at the start of this podcast that people were complaining that Portimao's gravel's too big, and then they roll. So, if their gravel had been small little bits of gravel like other racetracks, Bastianini wouldn't have broke his leg, and then we wouldn't be saying this. But regardless of the size of the gravel, Marc Marquez still would have fucked into Martin and hit Oliveira. That was nothing to do with the track, nothing to do with the track preparation. That was just Marquez riding beyond his limits.
I agree.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on this.
Right, so...
Yes, but you keep saying, you just hate Marquez because of what he done to Rossi years ago.
You do.
And that's not true.
You're not so bad. Ash is so bitter about him. He hates Marc Marquez just because of Rossi.
But you're such a Marquez fanboy. You're such a
Yeah,
Marquez
you are.
fanboy.
Fanboy.
It's like he just refused. Like I know he's an incredible rider.
He is.
You can't say who was the best rider in the world and not have Marquez in the discussion. Even
No,
though he's not.
exactly.
But you can't. But he's an amazing rider. But sometimes you just have to highlight. You just have to like.
I've admitted he needs to calm down, and it wasn't a great move. In fact, no, it was quite bad what happened, but it wasn't intentional. It was aggressive, but yeah.
And you see this little break he's got in his hand. Do you know what that reminds me of? Do you remember when you were younger, you'd go up and you'd start a fight with your brother or something, and then they would get really hurt, and then they would go crying to your ma or dad, and then you come down the stairs and go, I've hurt myself too. Trying to get some sympathy. But I also hurt myself.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me, my little broken hand. I just ran into the back of somebody because I couldn't be bothered using my brakes, but I broke my hand.
Well, while we're on the subject of Marquez, I'll bring up Alex Marquez.
Oh, okay.
He was doing great, but towards the end, he was just holding everybody up, man. Like towards the end, they were just all bunching up behind him, but they couldn't get past him.
Just parallel Ducati, wasn't it? It must have been so frustrating for Brad Binder because every time we got past him, and then just down the straight, Marquez just drove straight past him.
Yeah,
that power.
and it was just like, fucking hell, I know I'm faster than you, like, and that's obviously when we saw awesome Johan Zarco do what he did.
That was incredible.
Last corner, so good.
Absolutely incredible, because you know how much I like Johan Zarco.
I like him. He is class.
I'd love to see him win a race. And at one stage, I thought he was dropping off. It was like, Zarco's had enough here. He's dropping off. And then he just seemed to get the bit between the teeth, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm going for it." But again, that makes you think, if he's got that pace at the end, if he could get up front a bit.
Yeah. But it was an amazing move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a proper pass.
It was.
Proper pass.
I wonder what our cash out's like on our bet now, Chippy, with Alex Marquez. Have you had a look at it?
I just had a look a few seconds ago, but it's suspended.
Still suspended.
The other day I could cash out for like 50 odd quid profit. That was when he was top in practice.
I can't help but like Alex Marquez now, because he's on that like purple Ducati. It's my favourite livery in the paddock at the minute. I love the purple.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like that.
I quite like it.
It's all right. It's not my.
It's
favourite,
the Pramac, isn't it?
Right.
Pramac Ducati.
Yeah. No, it's Grassini.
But isn't the Pramac one like purpley as well?
Yeah, Grassini Ducati. That's it.
Pramac it's got purple in it. It's
Yeah.
like sort of bright purple. I don't really know what colour you call the Grassini one.
It looks like a Nardo sort of grey, mainly.
like a lilac.
What, that sort of purpley one? Like I said,
It's a weird colour.
What it always reminds me of is that like Joey Dunlop's, I think, Super Sport bike in 1994. That sort of purple one. That was what it first reminded me of. But I just like that colour. I like that colour, and it's. I'm a little bit annoyed that Alex Marquez is on it, because I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Marquez. But there you go.
I like him.
I like him more because he's on that bike. Of course you do. Oh, I love Marquez so much. He's my favourite rider. I love him. I like it when he crashes into people.
Obviously, Vinales, massive dark horse there. That was class ride from him on that Aprilia. Really, really good. Yeah. I was really impressed with him.
You know, if Vinales could, not saying he will, I'm not tipping him for the championship, but if he could somehow win the championship, it would be like one of the greatest comebacks in MotoGP, 500 GP history. Because after was it with Yamaha?
Yeah, he had a big falling out, didn't he?
After that, and then he moved to bikes. You kind of thought that's pretty much his career over that. But fair play, Yamaha or Aprilia gave him the chance. They were like, "We'll give you the bike." Like, we obviously see talent, and he has a talented rider. Let's be honest, he's really, really good. You don't become a world champion in any bike if you're not talented. But
I'm surprised he got a ride though after that whole thing with his Yamaha. You know, when he was which race was it? Then when he was revving the nuts off it, like at the end of the race.
Yeah, he was going up the street just trying to
wreck the bike.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised.
But then he was like disgruntled. He was pissed off. He was annoyed. He didn't think Yamaha were listening to him. He didn't think they were doing what he wanted to do. And then I know from, obviously I'm not a motorbike racer, but I do, like, from working and doing jobs. If you're doing a job you hate, for some reason, you know, you feel like you hate to do it because you hate to bring home the bacon, as they say. Yeah, it's just it can be absolutely heartbreaking getting up every day, going to work, hating life, coming home, and just having to do it over and over and over again. Now, obviously, if you're Maverick Vinales and you're racing MotoGP Yamaha and you want to race motorbikes and go fast, you would think, well, mate, you might not be winning the championship, but your life's not that bad. You know what I mean? You're probably making millions. But
then it's like, you see these riders when they do really well and they have a dip, you don't know what's going on at home either. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I know they're supposed to be professional and, you know, racing the bikes and that, but if they're having a hard time, like, at home, there's a mental health aspect to it massively, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, maybe Vinales is just on the right track at the moment.
Yeah, nice to see him up there. Nice to see him actually.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
putting together
watching.
a challenge. The Aprilia is like, was it you said it last week, Chippy? It's the only bike in the paddock that seems to be able to.
Well, I don't know about this now because the KTM's did well.
Yeah, but was that a one-off?
I don't know.
I thought they did really well, the KTM's. Yeah.
Well, where did he finish?
I think he was 6th, wasn't he?
Was it 6th and 7th or something like that?
Yeah.
But obviously, there was a few riders taken out in front of him.
Yeah, so he did really well. Yeah.
Fault.
Top 7, great. That's a championship winning result. That. You know, yes, he looked a bit racy for a while. You know, he was up the front for a while, but that doesn't win you championships.
Better than I thought he was.
Yeah, I agree with Chippy there.
Walking in and going, "Good day, mate. I led the race for a lap." Yeah, who cares? You didn't win the race. You finished 7th. So, yay! Bet KTM's well happy they're going to get 7th place in the championship.
Although don't forget, Brad Binder was also injured. He had like whiplash symptoms or something. He was declared fit to race, but yeah, he had some sort of whiplash issues before the weekend.
Here's a random question. This is completely random. I would never attempt a French accent or a Spanish accent because I would offend people. You'd sound a bit racist. But if suddenly with an Australian accent, they're like, "G'day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie." I never ate shrimp once when I was in Australia. Not once. Didn't eat shrimp once. Ate kangaroo. Ate a lot of cheap burgers because I was broke. Drank a lot of piss.
You're drinking...
Not actual piss. Not actual piss. Just shit beer. Anyway. Yeah, it's just a random. Just feel like I can just bust out an Australian accent whenever I feel like it. You can't. Do we want to talk any more about MotoGP?
Well, the rest of the race I didn't think was that great, to be honest. It wasn't a classic, was it?
Nice.
Well, it did the thing that most races do. It settled down, didn't it? It settled down. Yeah. And unless towards the end, the battle for 4th was good, like you said. Johan Zarco will come back. He can at one stage, I'll be honest, there was about 3 or 4 laps left, and I thought Vinales is going to bring this back because he caught up by a few. He caught up by a few hundredths of a second, a few tenths. But ultimately, it was probably just Bagnaia looking after his tyres or just, taking it easy for a lap. But
he did really well, I thought, actually, Bagnaia. With that number 1 plate, the weight of that, I think he's had a really... Well, he's won both races this weekend.
Yeah, I can imagine going into this weekend, there was a lot of pressure on him, especially with the sprint race. Because, like I said, the sprint race, there was a lot of tension, there was a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of adrenaline because it's the first race of the season, let's be honest. And... yeah, to come out of that, especially because it was chaotic, it was absolutely mad, it was all over the place. To come out of that and be on top, he kind of stood like after the sprint race and doubly after the actual race. He stood on top and he was like, "I am the champion. I am the man to beat. We are the bike to beat." There's a lot of Ducatis on the grid, but this is the one to beat, and I am the man to beat. So. And he will be. He will be hard beat this year. He will be, definitely.
It's cool to see Marco Bezzecchi as well.
Third place. Did well. Went a bit under the radar, really. I thought he didn't get much of a mention, but he was very solid.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And mentored by the GOAT. So
yeah.
Greatest of all time, Chippy, Valentino Rossi.
I'm not even getting into that. I love Rossi. I love Rossi. I just like Marquez as well. But because I like Marquez, you automatically think I hate Rossi.
Well, you do.
Rossi.
Let's be honest. If you're listening, Valentino, Chippy likes Marquez, so you know what that means.
Doubt
Well, if we're finished with...
yeah, I think that's it for MotoGP, innit?
Finished with MotoGP. Chippy, we received an email.
Have we?
We have. From none other than Harvey Price. That's who sent our email. That might be his name, might be Harvey Price. I did say use a pseudonym if you want. Anyway, he's given us a couple of questions, and they're good questions. The first one is, should BSB return to Assen? What do you think?
No, because it's
Why
not
not?
British track. I think it should be British tracks only.
I agree, British tracks only.
Yes, but British Superbikes transcends the UK. It's one of the better Superbike championships in the world. You take World Superbikes, Moto America, and British Superbikes. People want to come to British Superbikes. You want British Superbikes to be as competitive as possible. You're not going to get as many foreign riders come to British Superbikes if they don't every now and again go to Assen, or for example. And let's be honest, in 2005 or 7 or whatever, anyway, the mid-20s, 20 to 2010, they went to Mandela Park, which is in, inverted commas, Ireland, which isn't in Britain. So could they go there?
Could we claim that track?
Could they go there? I think they should go back to Assen, because, I'll be honest, as a bike fan, and guys who are riding their bikes, it gives them an opportunity, a reason to jump on their bikes and go over to Holland.
It does, nice. But also, you got to think, a lot of the teams in that paddock, they haven't got big budgets. It costs a lot to get over there, I'd imagine. I don't know the details, but keeping it in Britain, it's going to be a lot cheaper than shipping all that stuff out to
And the tracks in
Holland
Britain are good
just
enough
for a
anyway.
weekend.
I agree with Chippy.
Yeah.
I think should stick to the British tracks.
I would like to see us go to, because I think we go to Alton Park twice, Donington Park twice, and not Silverstone, which is the other one. There's another Brands. We go there twice as well. I would like to see like Croft or somewhere like that instead of going to the same tracks twice. Maybe add some.
Yeah,
I think they should go. I think you should go to Assen and just forget about Knock Hill.
No, I will not have that. I love Knock Hill.
No, Knock Hill's good. But I do think they should go to Assen. Like you said, there's tracks they're going to twice. Because they're trying to beef the championship up a bit. They want as many rounds as possible. Well then go to Assen, go to Mandela Park. I'm not saying turn it into like a European championship and go to like France and all. But
well, yeah, but the thing is, if you don't, you may as well just call it World Superbikes then, don't you?
Yeah.
no.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I don't really like seeing non-British riders in the paddock, if I'm honest. I like to see British riders win the championship.
So you're sexist. You're sexist and a racist.
So basically,
No, but
you're going to shave your head.
So what am I?
Well, the
So
thing is, in the
you-
British Talent Cup, you've got like there's a couple of like New Zealanders or something. I can't remember. I'm making this up. I know there's definitely like an American or two, and I hate seeing them near the front. I always think I want the Brit to win.
Yeah,
It's the British Talent Cup. It should be for British riders
British
to make a
Superbikes.
name for himself.
British Superbikes, we want British riders to win, of course. The British Superbikes.
Yeah.
We're being nepotistic when it comes to like British riders. And but Josh Brooks won it a few years ago, and he's Australian. What do you think
Yeah,
of
I
that?
know, and that annoyed me. I'd rather a British rider wins it.
But British riders, this is the thing. British riders, British Superbikes, they use that as a stepping stone to go to World Superbikes. And if you close it off to just British riders and just British courses, you're only going to get British riders. You're not going to get a race against the best before you step up into a harder championship.
I suppose it is better when we've got foreign riders and we're beating them. British riders are beating them. It's when like Josh Brooks winning and just beating all the Brits, it just kind of knocks us down then, I think.
I agree.
I do get your point.
I
It
agree
is
with Chippy
expensive
on
to
that.
get over to Assen. It's not a British track, so should they go there? But kind of like the NFL coming over to London or the Premier League going to America, it kind of just extends that championship a little bit and pulls in more viewers. Maybe rather than going to Assen every year, they should go to Assen one year, and then the following year go to like France, or maybe go over to Mandela Park, or try and change it every year where they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. That'd be good.
Harvey also gave us a second question. He didn't just stick with one question. He gave us a second question. Now, this one takes us back to MotoGP, and I have seen a little bit of correspondence about this, and I think we might also have opinions about it. So he says, opinions on the rider's safety. He didn't say, he asked. He asked. Opinions on rider's safety controversy following the Portugal GP. So I think this is coming down to, because I've seen a lot of people talking about it, I think this is a question he's asking. With the sprint race, and there's more opportunity to get hurt, and you mentioned it in the group chat, World Superbikes, they do a sprint race, they get hurt, they've got 7 weeks to recover. MotoGP, they do the sprint race, they do the race, they get hurt, they're in Argentina next week. So it's rider safety following the Portugal GP. Or maybe he's alluding to the track not being, which we've already talked about. But back to that first point, do you think the sprint race adds too much jeopardy to rider safety?
I think it's up to the riders and the team managers to keep them, to remind them, basically it's only for half points. Keep yourself safe, and make sure you're there for the main races.
Yeah, don't be going balls deep for, like, you go out there and realistically, Jack Miller, you're going to finish 6th, maybe 5th. Calm down, you're on a KTM. Don't go out there belly bag bollocks and throw it up the road because you think you can get 12 points. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think, I didn't really think it but the commentators mentioned it, and I'm just going to steal it to make it sound like I think it. I thunk it, I did. But anyway, the mechanics obviously have a much harder job in front of them because they've got more prep to do. You two look proper fucked, like you're ready for bed.
I am ready for bed. This is a very late night for me, 10 o'clock. I'm usually in bed by
I'm alright.
So
reading me book.
You look absolutely pissed off, Ash, like you're sitting there like, I just want to go to bed.
I'm just listening. I'm just tickling my beard and listening.
Do you not want to give us some of your notes?
Well, I've already done my notes.
took about 3 notes.
I'll tell you what I did order, because they were discounted on the MotoGP store. I ordered a new T-shirt.
What one?
Marco Bezzecchi.
Because he mentored by Rossi.
Yeah, and it was 18 quid. Bargain. So I ordered one.
Yeah.
Bike merchandise is so expensive, man. Unbelievable.
That is really expensive, yeah. It's all expensive. Whenever I went home a few years ago, and the Mid Interim was on, and I was there, so my wife, she left and left me by myself, and she'd never do that. I'm terrible when I'm by myself. And there was so they turned up in the village, there was all these stalls up. That's where I got my GSXR Suzuki hoodie, and I got my Tech 3 Yamaha jacket. And I think I brought some BMW t-shirt as well. I spent about 300 quid. It's just just buying crap merchandise. And whenever you're at a motorbike race and you buy merchandise, I hate it because you put it on, it's shiny and new, and you see all these dudes running, and they always wear their old hats and their old jackets, and they've been wearing the same jacket for years, and they look proper worn in. And then you look like you're wearing your new jacket. Oh, look at me in my new jacket.
Yes.
And it's like, look at the fucking state of you in your new jacket.
Yeah, we've still got to do the preview for the next GP, because that's this weekend coming.
Oh, yeah, we still got to do that. Jesus. Chippy, you must be threaders, man. You really need to go to bed. Just for our listeners out there, Chippy likes to go to, genuinely, not even joking, he likes to go to bed at 8 o'clock in the afternoon. He likes to, I say afternoon, not the evening, it's still the afternoon by 8 o'clock, and he's all fucked up today because the clocks went forward by an hour, so he doesn't know what's going on.
I woke up and it was 7:30. I was like, what the hell?
He likes to go to bed at 8 o'clock. Now, all this is genuine information. I'm not bullshitting. Yeah. He likes to get up at 4:30 in the morning, don't you? He doesn't go to.
Well, if I'm going to work, I do. If I'm,
he's not going to. He doesn't go to. He doesn't start work until 8 o'clock. He likes to get up at 4:30.
7.
Oh, he doesn't start work until 7. You like to get up at 4:30, and you spend An hour in the shower. An hour in the shower. That sounds good with my accent. An hour in the shower. Spend an hour in the shower. What do you do in the shower?
An hour in the shower.
I'm going to be honest. Even if I go to the shower, I can brush my teeth, shave whenever I feel like shaving if I'm not growing my beard. I can genuinely wash myself and I can sort myself out. Listeners know what I'm talking about when I say sort myself out in the shower. And it still can have all that done in 10 minutes. What are you doing in there for an hour?
Well, the thing is, I clean my teeth and shave in the shower, and I spend ages cleaning my teeth. I floss my teeth, I clean my teeth twice, and like brush my tongue.
He took a picture. He took a picture of the inside of his teeth yesterday with his
but the
phone.
thing is, Chippy,
Nicholas said there was a stain.
There was.
The thing is, Chippy, I could genuinely understand this if you were like some sort of man who like took great pride in himself, but you look like a weirdo, mate.
Thanks, mate. And anyway, the next hour, I spend getting my breakfast, and then I like to relax and chill and catch up on the bikes and everything. And yes, then I sort of chill.
But it's the same breakfast every day. It's porridge,
boiled eggs,
porridge with peanut butter and a sliced banana. It used to be two boiled eggs.
Wait. There's more. There's porridge with peanut butter, banana, blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. And then a yogurt.
You used to have two boiled eggs, but you've chinned them off, haven't you?
I have them for lunch now.
And he has a glass of orange juice.
Yes, I do.
Every day.
What do you have? Fry up every day. At least mine's healthy.
Just recently, I've been on porridge every day.
Do not get started in fry-ups, because this week fried my head with you two cunts. Oh, fuck, I said it.
Right, you got a forfeit for that.
That's...
If the C-bomb comes out, it's a forfeit.
What do you mean it's a forfeit?
There's a forfeit. Me and Chippy have got to think about something.
Yeah, you just pissed me off this week with that.
With what?
That whole tatty scone crap.
It is a tatty scone.
It's fadge. No, it's fadge. That's what it is.
Not fadge is another name for a vagina.
No, it's not. Well, maybe it is, but it's also... Right. That's tatty scone.
Let's be honest, it's not really a tatty scone either, because we're not Scottish, so we don't say tatty, we say potato
scone then.
It's potato bread. It's not a scone. It's potato bread. It's an Irish bread. It's an Irish recipe.
Well, it says
so therefore
scone on packaging.
Scottish, yeah, from Scottish people who stole it. We don't take their haggis and call it, I don't know, something else.
You probably do.
Because they can't even call it anything else other than haggis. That's it. It's fadge. Potato bread. Fadge. Farrell. I'll accept farrell.
I'm off to go eat some fadge. That just sounds like we're on about OnlyFans again.
So if you were back in Northern Ireland and you sat down for what you call a fry up, we call it an Ulster fry. You'd walk in there and they'd be like, "Oh, hello, and would you like a wee piece of fudge?" Because everything's wee. And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I want a wee piece of fudge. Do you want one wee piece or two wee pieces?" And you'd be like, "Oh, I want two. Okay, I'll bring it down to your wee table with a wee cup of tea." And they'd be like, "All right, cheers, love."
Well, no, because if I hadn't known what it was, I'd be
and
like,
then you put in the group chat a fudge. You would never call it a fudge. You would never say, "Can I have a fudge?" You just be like, "I want some fudge, please."
I couldn't say that with a straight face. I just honestly couldn't do it.
Go into Google or Safari, or whatever it is, your search engine. Google, because that uses Google anyway.
For God's sake, just spell it right.
And just type in fudge, Fadge, fudge, and it'll bring up Irish potato bread.
It'll bring up Pornhub. That's what it'll bring up.
No, it won't bring up Pornhub. I'm going to do it right now, and I'll show it to you. Fuck you.
Believe it or not, this is a bike podcast.
Yeah, it is a bike podcast. Of course it is.
We'll get back onto the bikes as soon as I prove a point about fudge. Fudge meaning bread made with potatoes, flour, flour with bond, formed, blah blah blah. I don't know. Bread made with potatoes, flour, and butter. Fudge is indispensable part of the Ulster fry.
It's better than Yorkshire pudding.
Oh, shut up! It
What you mean? baked pancake.
It's not baked pancake.
I don't know.
It's Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, it's a baked pancake. No,
I'm
you
with
don't call
Sam
it,
on this.
No.
don't call it Yorkshire pudding in my house. 'Cause
You're only
it's
with
a pancake.
Sam on this because you hate everything to do with Yorkshire, Chippy.
It's
Anything
a pancake
to do with Yorkshire,
mix.
you hate it.
It's a pancake mix. It's pretty much part and parcel. It's a pancake mix, and instead of putting it on a frying pan, I put it in the oven. I bake it. So therefore, it's a baked pancake. That's what it is, and that's what I'm going to call it from now on. Fuck you and your Yorkshire pudding.
Fuck you
Go
and your
fuck
fadge.
themselves. And it's not even a pudding. It's not even a pudding. Pudding's something you eat at the end of a meal.
You can have it
It's
as
like,
a pudding. You can have it as a pudding.
That was a nice dinner I had. Can I have some pudding? Well, here, have some baked pancake. I don't fucking want more dinner. I want pudding.
Back in
Ice cream
day,
or something.
your pudding was a Yorkshire pudding with maple syrup on it, or with golden syrup on it. That was your
He
pudding.
goes
So
more Yorkshire when he starts talking about something from Yorkshire.
So you
That
mean it was
accent goes so much thicker.
Do you know what else you put maple syrup on? A fucking pancake.
Yeah, well,
It's
you
a
can put it on
baked
the Yorkshire pudding.
Baked pancake, mate.
Can we get back to bikes? Fuck me.
All right, let's get back to bikes. Right, where are we at? We finished with the MotoGP, yeah.
Yeah, finishing with MotoGP. We need to do the review on Argentina, do we not?
Oh, yeah, Argentina, yes.
Preview, yeah.
Preview, sorry.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
But we've got Bastianini's not going to be there.
No.
Paul Espargaro's not going to be there.
Definitely not.
And depending on Marc Marquez's injury, I mean, it is only a fractured finger. I imagine he will be there. But
Ash is crossing his fingers.
yeah,
Because it's a podcast, nobody can see you doing that. So, Ash crossed his fingers.
Yeah, I did.
Maybe someday we'll go live, but... anyway, apologies for my little outburst, anybody that's listening. It was only a matter of time before that came out. I will try and keep that to a minimum, my little C-bombs. But
Yeah, we're going to have to think of a forfeit.
that would just slipped out. It was like a fart in the left, it just slipped out. Yeah, who else is not going to be there?
sorry, I've got... Edit this out. So we've got Enea Bastianini, not going to be there. Paul Espargaro isn't going to be there. Marc Marquez possibly won't be there because of his...
He'll be there.
Yeah, he probably will. Moto2, Iogura won't be there, and Isan Guevara.
Igor had a
that's all
motocross
I can-
accident, didn't he?
And Kelso's not going to be
I
there.
think it's going to be out for work. Oh, yeah, and Joel Kelso.
Joe Kelso's not
Because
going to be there
Because he can't see where he's
Holgado
going.
just
Use
stopped
his
right in
eyes.
front of him. Because Holgado just decided to stop in front of him.
Because he decided to close his eyes,
eyes.
yeah. Hopefully the weather's all right. Anyway, Should be.
Well, I was watching that. I was watching that 2018 Argentina because I wanted to show Chippy just how aggressive Marc Marquez can be and how much of a dick he can be at times. And that was raining then, so it's got a history of raining. It's got a history of like throwing in some dodgy weather. Jesus, if it's as packed with like action as it was in 2018, it'll be a hell of a race. Because that was just watching it back. I was just like shaking my head. I was like, this is crazy. This was just all over the place. It was bonkers. Carl Crutchlow won that race too. Even watching it back, I got emotional. The second time around, I was watching it. I was just like I could feel my emotions building up inside me watching, because it was Carl Crutchlow racing Johan Zarco, and Johan Zarco was in Carl Crutchlow's old bike, and he was in the LCR Honda, and I was like, oh yes.
Well, hopefully
So
if it's
happy when he
raining,
won that race.
Anna Krasko will get a
Oh,
point.
God. She won't get a point. She'll be even slower.
Nah,
than
she'll be quicker in rain, I reckon.
Imagine if the sprint race was wet. Oh, God.
Oh,
That would not be a good
carnage.
thing.
But I think what you said about the sprint race is that team managers had to just remind them, you're going out there for 12 points. You know, at best, you're going out there for 12 points. So go out there, you know.
Just make sure you finish.
Yeah. Do you think Quartararo will have a better showing at Argentina?
I hope so.
Do you think Yamaha will be able to put a bike together that he might actually be able to be competitive with?
I noticed
I think
for the
Yamaha-
sorry, Crown Chippy.
No, I was just going to say, I think Yamaha have given him more power, but at the same time, I think everybody's got more power, and they haven't really gained anything. I mean, the lap record before this weekend was like, what, 137.8 around that track? And they were all in qualifying, sort of around 137.2s, 3s.
Yeah.
They've all drastically got more power.
Which you expect year in, year out. You expect the bike to get more powerful.
Yeah. But Quartararo didn't have his fins on in the race. Did you notice that on the back? You know the tail fins? In qualifying and that, he had the two fins like the Hondas have, but in the race, it wasn't on there.
Yeah, and the one that they have in the back of the Yamaha is similar to the one that they have in the back of the KTM.
No, they did away with it, didn't it? And they had like
no, that's what I mean. But the one they did have was very similar to the one that they had in the KTM.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they've not got it on there.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, Quartararo didn't finish where he finished because he didn't have
I know
little tail fin on. Obviously, in the sprint race, Joan Mir, was it Joan Mir? Yeah, Joan Mir didn't help him.
No,
probably still wouldn't have finished up there. But he looked awful in the first race. Let's hope he can do something.
I reckon he'll do better next weekend. I think. I hope.
Who do you think's going to win Argentina? What's your predictions for Argentina?
Chippy with Marc Marquez.
No, actually, I think it's going to be
Marc Marquez is good right in Argentina.
I think it's going to be Bagnaia. I think he's just going to dominate this year, I reckon.
Yeah, you think
so? Well, not dominate, but I think he's going to be in control.
I'm going to go with Johan Zarco.
Oh, I was going to say Johan Zarco.
Right, I'll tell you what. You love Johan Zarco, so I'll go Maverick Vinales. There we go.
Yeah. Moto2.
Pedro Acosta.
Oh yeah. Oh, Aaron Canet. I'm gonna go Jake Dixon. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Sam Lowe's.
Aaron Canet still hasn't won a race yet, has he? He's been second 10 times now.
Yeah.
He's just not able to get that win.
He just can't get it. He's going to struggle this year getting one as well, because Pedro Acosta's going to be...
He really is.
Imperial. And then Moto3, I'm going to say Onchu. I'm going to stick with Onchu, because I've got him down as my tip this year.
I'm going to go Sasaki.
Nice. I'll go with Rueda. I was quite impressed with him today. He got fourth, just missed a podium. But yeah, Rueda.
Sasaki.
The Argentina race is down in Patagonia. I don't know how far south it is.
No idea. I don't know whereabouts it is.
Patagonia is like towards the south of Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rio. It's strange to me that it's called Rio Honda, because you hear Rio and you think, oh, Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil, yeah. Weird.
And it's like, no, Argentina. Shut up.
Oh, it's Rio Hondo.
Yeah. It's that's like usually if you got a European round, they do more European rounds to try and stop so much travelling around.
Actually, it's quite far northwest. It's not far from the Chile border.
Yeah. But going from Portimão and then in a week going over to Argentina, and then they're going from Argentina to Austin, Circus of the Americas.
I do love that track.
There's a bit of a gap though. Yeah, I do as well.
Is it 2 weeks?
A couple of weeks gap.
Yeah, 2 weeks for it.
But that is probably one of my favourite tracks.
That is a nice
that'll
track.
be the one that Marquez wins as well, I bet.
Yeah, he always does well.
He does.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have the track at Austin or Laguna Seca?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. I do miss Laguna Seca.
I'd rather have the one.
But this is why I think it would be good if we had competitive American riders, because you've got two races in Spain, so it's not unlikely that you could have two races in another country, because they're trying to cram so many races in. You could have America's big enough, and it's got a big enough following, I would imagine, especially if you've got good American riders. You could have Circuit of the Americas in Austin and Laguna Seca in California. As in California, I don't even know if it's I say California, maybe not even in California. Can't mind where it is.
Not sure.
If there's any Americans listening, and I know Americans do listen because it's on my little app saying that like 4% of our listeners are American. That means one American probably listened.
I've really enjoyed the racing this weekend. I'm really looking forward to next weekend. But I'm travelling on the Sunday, so I'll have to catch up on the Sunday night.
Are you heading down Yorkshire?
I'm heading down to Yorkshire, aye.
That's why you said we had to do the pod next week on the Monday.
Yes.
Which means it might not be out until the Wednesday. But it's alright, because the following week after that there's no MotoGP, but there will be something.
When are we doing it Monday? Because my family's coming up Monday. I'll get it around like 3ish.
Oh, you got to read RTFC, read the fucking chat. Even though the message that Ash put on there was completely undecipherable. I had to question the message, and then even when he read a reply, I still didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. I was like, mate.
Oh, yeah, that was the bit, yeah, because I thought he was getting confused with can and can't again. He was just getting them two mixed up somehow.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll sort that out. Moving on. Did you put that? Did you look for anybody to message in for the Who Am I? Nobody has.
He got it, but he hasn't.
Oh yeah,
he hasn't messaged it in.
Harvey
I
Price.
said he didn't need to on this occasion.
Harvey Price has wrote in with an answer.
Oh, has he? Oh, he did.
Yeah. So that's two answers we've got. We've got Big Dazza and Harvey Price, who's our new biggest fan. So, last week's Who Am I? Did you get it?
No.
Without Google?
Not without Google. I think I got it with Google.
Maybe I did. No, with Google, yeah.
Right, so last week's Who Am I? I was born on the 11th of January 1962 in Hawick, Scotland. First winning the Formula 2 in 1987. I went on to win the TT a total of 11 times. In March 2010, I was inducted into the Scottish Sports Hall of Fame. Big Dazza wrote in with an email saying it was the flying haggis Steve Hislop, and Harvey Price, who's emailed us twice in a day now, biggest fan, also emailed in just saying Steve Hislop. So, and they were both correct, obviously. I wouldn't be reading out in the show if they weren't. So yeah, so Big Dazza, Harvey Price, they both emailed in, got their name read out in the show. There you go, that's how it happens. Email in, get your name read out. Both got it right. Fortunately, you don't really win anything apart from like a little sense of pride that you know stuff about motorbikes. I picked Steve Hislop. I was a big fan of Steve Hislop whenever I was growing up. Obviously, growing up watching motorbike racing and seeing, I was going to say the English boys and the Scottish, but you know, the British superbike riders coming over and taking on the Irish road racers. It was always good. There was always like a bit of needle between them, and then they would all go to the Isle of Man TT, where it was all like fair game and to see who could beat each other there. And apparently Steve Hislop and Carl Fogarty had a really good race in the TT in 1992, because Carl Fogarty being in the World Superbikes and Steve Hislop being in the British Superbikes, they had never really raced each other before, but there was always a bit of like who would be the better rider. They came up against each other, and in 1992, I think it was in the big race in 1992 in the TT, it was the first time they ever raced each other. So you go check that out, you can find out who won that race if you want to look back in a little bit of TT history. But yeah, Steve Hislop, I was a big fan of him. Obviously he tragically lost his life in a helicopter accident, but fantastic rider. That's who it was. Two people emailed in, got it right. And this week, should I say, it's the turn of Ash Hall to give us a Who Am I? The Up North biker.
It is. It is my turn. So do you want me to crack on with it?
Yeah, go on ahead.
Cool. So this week's Who Am I was born in America in 1958. First race in the GP was in South Africa in 1983. And first win of the Daytona 200 was in 1986. I went for someone, because you two were bitching that mine was too easy with Barry Sheen, so I thought I'd go with someone really hard this time.
Yeah. So if you know, or you think you know the answer to that question, you can email us at podcast at bigbadbs.co.uk. Send us any questions you have, send us any correspondence with how we're getting on, or if we've said anything stupid in the show that you'd like to address or highlight, or if you want to just generally have a bit of a chit chat with us, send it to us in an email, and like I said, we'll read your name out in the show, and you can answer that question as well. I've subsequently got it, but that's because I just picked the year and I went through every American I think it could have been. I literally just bombarded Ash with names of American people, and I narrowed it down to eventually, well, then it has to be this one. So I can't legitimately say I got it this week, because let's be honest, if I was emailing in with just one email and one shot at it, I'd have got it wrong.
Yeah, so that's true.
But because I'm in a group chat with Ash, and well, we're in a group chat together, I was able to work out who it was, but yeah, it's not that easy. But is that it? Are we finished?
I think we're done because Chippy looks like he's about to pass out.
Well, this is going to be our longest episode ever.
And I don't think there's that much to edit out of this either. Obviously,
No, I know.
Got off to a bit of
nearly 2 hours.
got off to a bit of a slow start.
Yeah.
But I think we were all just holding back because we knew we wanted to argue about Marquez being a little twat. And Joe Kelso not using his eyes. But anyway, again, if you want to send us an email, you want to get in touch with us for any reason at all, you can send us an email at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. You can listen to us on YouTube. It's the Big Bad Bike Show. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're on Twitter, the Big Bad BS, it's all one word. We're on Instagram, the Big Bad Bike Show, hyphen between every word. We're also on Facebook, it's the Big Bad Bike Show. I'm on Twitter, it's at Super Gassano, which is pretty much part and parcel the same as our Twitter page. Chippy's on Twitter as well, it's at C_Ballard90, and Ash is our Instagram representative, and he is the Up North Biker on Instagram.
Very good.
That's our socials, that's it all done.
That's it done.
Nothing else to do. This time next week we'll be talking about Argentina. We'll probably still be arguing about Portimão.
Nah, we'll have something else to argue about by then.
I genuinely think this time next year, when we sit down to watch the Moto GP, we'll still be arguing about Marc Marquez. And
I just hope he behaves next week. I hope he doesn't do anything stupid.
The eyes are going to be on him. People are going to be watching him. Stewards are going to be watching him. They're going to be keeping their eyes on him to see what he's up to, because he can't be riding. Like, I know he's not on the best bike in the paddock, but he can't be riding like that.
No.
You admit that at least, Chippy. Come on, you can't be riding like that.
Well, he locked the front, but
He can't admit it, can he? He just can't.
he locked the front and lost control.
Okay,
But yeah, it was a bit aggressive at times.
He locked the front because he was doing 150 going into a corner, mate. That's why he locked the front up.
Nah.
Like I say, we're going to be arguing about this for weeks, months. This time next year, we'll still be arguing about this. What was Marc Marquez thinking in Portimão 2023? So, until next week, I've been your host, Sam McCauley. I've been joined by the Up North Biker, Ash Hall, and Chris Chippy Ballard. Nothing else to say, but just to bid you goodbye.
City.
Goodbye.
This time next year we'll be millionaires.